In this episode, we deal with the backlog burnout. Man.
Welcome to Trident Wargaming, a podcast dedicated to all aspects of tabletop wargaming. Your hosts are Bill and Andy.
Hey everybody, welcome to Trident Wargaming episode 4. This is all about the backlog burnout. I'm your host, Bill.
And I'm Andy. And here we are again. So, Bill, how do you deal with your, painting burnout, your backlog? How do you go about it?
Well, like most fellow gamers, the backlog burnout is real. And there is a vast warehouse full of all these projects that have post-its of good intentions, but it just takes a long time to get there.
Yeah.
I know myself, I always try and redress that palette and go, I'm not going to buy anything else until I'm all painted, which, famous last words. As soon as you walk into a hobby store, it's over.
We know that never lasts.
No. But it was a thing that we started kind of talking about, how are we going to get through all this backlog? There's so many systems to play and talk about and work on. And actually, Andy came up with this really good idea about doing like monthly challenges. And then we kind of were just talking about it and started running with it about, well, let's do monthly challenges on these systems that we're playing.
Yeah, exactly. And it all actually started with my bolt action group that I'm involved with, because I'm a Sarge for the bolt action here in the city. But it's pretty much was trying to get guys involved, since we're not playing right now. And with myself, like, I got a huge inventory of models, like all of us. And I just said, okay, I'm going to take a small force, and my challenge is to get it done in a month. And, with this challenge for bolt action, I actually have a giveaway to give to the guys here in the group. So anybody who gets involved and participates and sends pictures, which we'll be showing, I'm sure, on Instagram and whatnot, gets a chance to get it. So it kind of spiked something with us to saying, hey, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, we should be doing that just all on our own kind of thing, right? Like, pick a small amount of miniatures or whatever you're determined to get done for that month, and get it done and change it up in systems, because like we play so many different games, right? So but yeah, it's actually done really well. There's a lot more people engaged in doing it than I thought there was going to be, and pretty proud of that. But to me, it's really encouraged me to get the small force that I'm working on done, and I'm actually almost complete, and I got a couple more weeks to go in the month. So
yeah.
And I know, Bill, you were working on a project too for that, actually.
Indeed, I was. I was working on my 148 scale Tamiya Sherman tank, and actually ended up getting it all done and completed. And January, right, being bolt action month, being the system that we're trying to concentrate on, I ended up deciding, I'm just gonna keep momentum going and try and get all my infantry built and get my last M10 tank destroyer all finished up and at least built and primed for this month. And then after that, we'll be jumping like into another system to just start the cycle again. But it was actually a lot of fun to partake in that challenge and get the tank all like done up, and first time using chipping effects and sponging techniques and all sorts of kind of rust effects and streaking grime and whatnot. So
Yeah, and that was like a first time kind of thing for you, right? Using those
Yeah,
AK products,
yeah,
AK Interactive, I believe, right?
yeah. AK Interactive for the Grimes Light Rust, and then I was using a MiG Absolute Chipping, and both different products really performed well. Um, I was quite impressed, and I was surprised actually the most about how easy the technique actually is. There was actually a really big kind of moment there before I started that I was like, I don't know. I haven't really been testing it out, and you can only watch so many YouTube videos of watching how they do it, be it like the grim dark painting style or not. And I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna pull the trigger, man, and check it out.
Yeah, and it turned out really, really awesome. Like everybody who's seen it has just loved it, and little jealous actually. But so I have to pick some of that stuff up myself. Works really well with those earth tone colors, especially for like World War II.
Oh yeah,
So I can't wait to see it on the grim dark and whatnot, like for some 30K, like your word bearers and stuff you're going to try
yeah,
and
definitely.
whatnot. So cool experience, cool to see engagement with people, even just ourselves, and then learning some new tips and tricks as well, right? And like new techniques. But you know, dealing with that burnout or that just lack of, I guess, energy to actually get through your painting. The other thing is with this challenge, and we mentioned it, is so right now we're doing bolt action, and like next month I've already been planning for it's going to be Star Wars Legion
Yeah,
to switch it up, right? Like I have an Empire army that I'm continuously wanting to work on, and I've got some stormtroopers all done up, but there's still a lot more to go. And I think it's a good way of you're not working on just 100 guardsmen and trying to push through it, or 80 orc boys, which is only one unit or something like that. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Um, so, but then there's also the thing too. You switch it up and you do a vehicle, like you did your Sherman,
Yeah.
and that was like, when was the last time you put like a model kit, like an actual model kit like that together for World War II?
Not since I was 12, I think.
Yeah,
Like when I was putting together those model airplanes.
in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, like that was. It's been a long time. Those Tamiya kits are actually a very detailed, like legitimate model kit. It
Hmm.
comes with a die-cast body, and you end up supergluing all your plastic assembly onto this body, which then screws. You have little micro machine screws, right, that actually screw into your top chassis, and it sandwiches it all together at the end. And there's little plates that you glue over top of the screw holes and stuff, and it's quite extensive. I think the kit took me all in, I want to say about maybe 3.5 hours to build, because there's some pretty tiny
Nice.
pieces in there.
Nice.
And yeah, it went together really nice. The detail, like I can't say enough about it. They really did a good job. At painting it though, like I haven't painted little tools on the back of tanks and stuff like that for quite some time. Most of the extra flair on a lot of my heresy vehicles, right, is just kind of some decals here and there, but not a lot of stowage or
Mm.
having these like spare bogies or track links and stuff. So it was a little bit
Yeah,
cool
it's
checking that
pretty
out.
neat. That's pretty neat. Nice. Yeah, and the one thing too is like having the engagement from the community. That was really, really awesome in my eyes.
Yeah.
I know I try to do a lot for the community here in Edmonton here for the bolt action, and every player in there like totally supports what we do, right? So
Yeah.
for I'm gonna say there's probably, I don't know, 15 guys who jumped on board to actually participate in it, and some guys aren't, they're not great painters, but they're giving it a try and they're getting it done, and they're just excited to be involved, and everybody's sharing pictures and telling their stories and like, explaining how they did certain things, right? Like I just finished taking pictures of how I did my Stalingrad basing on my Eastern Front Germans, right? So that'll be popping up on the Instagram and whatnot as well, and share it on the pages.
Yep.
But yeah, it's an awesome way to do it, and I recommend, if you have a community that is kind of wants to get involved in stuff, and you have a local store that can support you with maybe some prize support, or maybe you just do it on your own, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
The players really appreciate it. The groups really appreciate it. So right now,
it goes a long way for sure.
Oh, exactly. And hopefully you're talking with the local groups here as well, with the Legion. One of my good friends, he runs the Legion there, Star Wars Legion page. I'm going to try to do similar event with them and see how that goes. But yeah, get stuff painted, like build it, paint it, and then later in the future, play it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Myself, I don't have any Legion stuff, and to kind of keep the momentum going for myself as well, I actually decided that for me, February is going to be Necromunda month.
Yeah.
So I've got some substantial backlog that I've been sitting on for quite some time. Up to and including like an OOP Forge World like zone board. So I'd really like to try and start off with just, getting my gang and the upgrade box with the Arms Masters and Wreckers, my Orlocks, get them all done up, get them painted. That's my first step. And depending how fast that goes, because, again, like Necromunda, we're only dealing with, 10 to 15 models. So I want to try and get an actual gang painted up. And if I'm successful, then I'll push on to the floor tiles and the uprising box, and got a couple gang strongholds and box as well to get all ready to go for the Underhive.
You probably have enough Necromunda to deal with as much as I have Legion to deal with, but
yeah,
it'll be good fun. Good fun to get stuff painted, right?
Oh, so definitely.
And I think, and we talked about that too, of each month maybe we each do a different system.
Yeah.
Right. So it's good. It'll be good. There's a lot out there, a lot of cool miniatures to paint, a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of does it actually help? So far, it seems to be pretty good. Like being really,
hell yeah.
Well, yeah, being a complete bolt action noob myself and jumping in and having these models, like I've made some pretty good progress just already, and then I'm looking forward to getting as much as I can done this month, and then I'm actually excited to start the Necromunda project because it's something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a totally new look, new models, just a new feel, and I think if you're continuously living by that proverb, right? Variety is the spice of life. All the different systems you play. Really, I don't think it'll get boring. Because
no, not at all.
Let's be real. Building 80 cultists like I just finished doing, that's boring. That was mind-numbingly boring. But building 30 infantry, that wasn't bad. 15 infantry, for Necromunda, that'll be nothing. So it gets easier, and you can really enjoy it in different ways and reward yourself, right? Like if you got through a nasty project, maybe do a system that you really want to do and get some of those nice models painted up.
Yeah, and there's enough games out there that they're not like these grand armies that you have to build and complete. There's so many skirmish games out there, which is awesome. Like I know recently we Victory at Sea. It's another branch of Warlord Games, and the guys have been just hyped on it. And you only need maybe 15 vessels, and they're pretty easy to paint up, right? So like I have a video that we'll be posting as well at some point, but very very simple to paint and enjoyable and different, because like I never really do paint like almost epic size miniatures, right? It's mainly the 28 millimeter miniatures that I paint. So, but yeah, no, all in all, I think that is like probably one of the greatest ideas I've came up with for a while.
Yeah.
just to say. And
it was good. It's definitely a step in the right direction for what we want to do.
Yeah, because for a while there, like I was in a slump, and that, like Bill, like I've talked about that. Like I've got nothing on the go. Took a kind of a break. I think I was working on Necrons.
Yeah.
For a little while there, and I started getting a couple of squads done up and whatnot, and then just something happened, got into a big slump, and just didn't paint. Right, I was building stuff, but I didn't really paint, and I didn't really have the urge to paint. And then just all of a sudden, like just talking with yourself and a couple other guys, and kind of getting that mindset of, wow, I have way too many miniatures and I need to get these painted.
Yeah.
Right? Because honestly, I could look behind me right now and oh boy, I can open up my own store pretty much.
Oh man.
But and we got a couple friends like that. So
yeah, you know who you are if you're listening. Yeah, you pan around your room and look in shame.
I'm not gonna toll the bell and scream shame. So
oh, too late.
Yeah. But just I'm so excited, right? Like 2021 started off pretty strong for painting, going hard, gonna keep going hard, getting stuff painted, getting stuff done, and getting it ready to play,
Yep.
and not to mention terrain. Like,
oh yes,
like I know you've gone hog wild on getting terrain,
to say the least. Yeah,
right. And I've even painted some of that stuff up, and a lot of fun painting up that stuff. But yeah, like myself, same thing. Like I bought a few kits. I was planning on doing a small little event for a Stalingrad battle for the bolt action boys, and it's kind of just sitting there right now, waiting for assembly. I got a couple factories done, but
yeah,
again, it's nice to mix it up, because like when you're painting miniatures, it's you're doing your thing, you make a mistake or whatever, try to fix it up, blah blah blah. You kind of figure out your colors, what you don't like, what you do like, blah blah blah. But when you're painting like buildings that are in like a war zone, they're a little bit more forgiving, right?
They are.
And if you got an airbrush, there is wonders you can do, right? Like scorched walls and whatnot, and soot and all that stuff, and just make it look like the top of the building was shelled, kind of thing, right? So, but yeah, that's another way of mixing it up. If you need that break and you're tired of painting some guys for an army, sometimes just grabbing a piece of terrain and just going to town on it does it as well. So, at least that's my opinion. I love doing terrain. I love even building terrain. Like I built some bocage the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, bocage, ooh, bush. But it was a fun experience, and I learned some stuff. And now in my mindset, it's cool. Okay, this is the game plan for this stuff. Periodically, I'll just make a couple random ones and go with it. So, but yeah,
no doubt.
But we definitely will. We definitely will have a lot of more of this coming down the pipe as well. Because like we said, every month we'll try to do something different.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be trying to stay engaged with you guys on the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and posting pictures and continuing on. Like mentioned earlier, Andy has like a video of his painting and for the Victory at Sea, and we'll put up pictures of some of his Germans and pictures of that M4 Sherman tank, and just to kind of just show you different things, right? And like this is the stuff that we've used. This is what we found successful, and if it helps you, awesome. And if it doesn't, hey, that's fine. There's someone that will definitely benefit from it. So
yeah, and there's a lot of little tips and tricks and products and you know what? Honestly, stuff that you just come about by accident sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's a lot of local stores that they sell material that you wouldn't expect for pretty cheap, and definitely makes a big difference when you're looking for for rubble and whatnot. So, but yeah, lots of pictures, products we use, what we're painting, what we're working on, what we're building, that kind of stuff. And feel free to share your stuff with us as well.
Oh yeah, please do.
I definitely want to see comments on the pages and pictures of your stuff that you're working on, and join us as well on our little adventures of painting and building and playing and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I want to see your guys' bolt action armies. Be excited for that. I want to see any of your armies, actually.
Yeah. All of them for sure.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I know that we were talking about is, for those who are listening along and do have access to some of the social media platforms, when you're posting your pics, especially even on like Instagram, for example, throw on hashtag Trident Wargaming, and we kind of, they'll pop up on like a tag for us that we can actually search up, and we can share some of the pictures on that hashtag on the next video, right, when we're talking about hobby stuff, just to just show what people are working on, because that's half the inspiration. It kind of leads into our next topic about like the backlog. We've got kind of a system now for modeling and a little bit for painting, but like painting's its own ball of wax, right? There's this whole other aspect with painting, and yeah, social media being a huge inspiration for myself, being able to look at all these armies and whatnot. It's quite nice to be able to see where people have taken the hobby and where they take their armies, and then you can pull ideas from all these different artists online, and then start kind of putting your own spin on it too. And I definitely like that part of it.
Well, if what we have now we had 15 years ago, wow. Yeah. What a big difference. Things, how many years did we just paint by brush, and then all of a sudden we got involved with airbrushes, right?
Oh yeah.
And there's so many videos, so many different techniques out there, so many different products on how to do things and whatnot. And quite honestly, like, I know I was at a point of the heavy metal, showcase, seeing that in the magazine, and that's what I wanted my stuff to look like.
Yeah.
Right. And I was never satisfied with how I painted my stuff. Never, right? And I know we've talked about this a fair bit.
Oh yeah.
But it's gotten to a point now where there's so many games that I want to enjoy, and I get so much more enjoyment when both armies are done up and the terrain is all done up, painted, and fully painted.
Painted plays better.
Yeah, exactly. And I've gotten to a point now where this is how I paint. This is my technique. This is what I love, and I'm very, very happy with it, right? So, and I'm going to say probably within the last 2 years, I've improved a little bit more than what I was at. And the airbrush is one of the things that really helped me out. And also learning from the friends, and like Bill's like send me so many links on how to do certain things and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's getting to that point where you're happy with how your miniatures look and enjoying it. Right? That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So, line highlighting, do I do it? I try to do a little, but I'm not super great at it, right? So I tend to just do my highlights with, the airbrush, zenithal highlights and stuff like that. And I go with that and kind of just blend everything together. And I've had a lot of people, say my stuff looks really, really good, right? So, but to be modest, I know where I'm at. I'm happy where I'm at. And I'd love to see that just on the battlefield, find it out. So, and I know yourself, Bill. Like I know over the years, seeing where you've come from for painting, like huge leaps and bounds, right?
Well, from the Duke of dry brushing to trying to airbrush and sponge effects and shit. So it's come a long way. It's come a long way.
Oh, that's a good one.
So
yeah, it really has. I know you still struggle with eyeballs, but
I do.
I think we all still do.
There was a video actually that I watched, and it changed a little bit of my, I guess, the way I want to tackle painting eyes, which is do the eyes first. And I know it sounds crazy, but it does make it easier. Also practicing with extra heads on just sprue, just cut it out.
That's right.
Painting them, like, paint them, you can strip them or just grab new heads and paint more. And at the end of it, like, you'll have, 10, 15 of these heads all painted up in different skin tones and with different, scars and everything else. But they're all done. And you can keep working on them until you're actually happy enough with them where you're like, I'm going to put that on a model for sure. And you've got like a huge array of just variety. But that's the thing with painting, to kind of just back it up a little bit. When it comes down to painting, I think it's especially important now is who are you painting for? It's always a question, right? You want to ask yourself, and that might seem kind of like a weird question, but if you're painting for yourself, you'll always be happy with the product that you're putting out, and you'll always, feel like you've accomplished and improved. But if you're, then this is the only downside with social media, right? Is access to so many different artists and so many different people. You kind of get that keeping up with the Joneses mentality with your painting. And I know even myself, like I've looked at some painting online and I was like, wow, like that guy's in the future already. He's like in 2030 for painting, and I'm still here. And I don't want to say I get discouraged, but it definitely makes me like look at mine like, I wish I could emulate what I'm seeing here. But at the same time, like, the painting that I am doing, I am happy with. So I think you have to paint for yourself, paint to play the game. If you want to paint every model, right, like Golden Demon standard, awesome, all the power to you, and show me pictures because I love looking at them like that.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, like, for your models that you're playing with, there's still models that, you're going to game with. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's one of those, yeah, it's kind of one of those things, right? Just, yeah, definitely, just remember, yeah, as you're painting this project, you're going to improve. And one of, a very easy tip that I learned early on was, if you're going to paint your infantry, whatever game you're playing, paint it all at the same time. Batch paint all your infantry. And the reason I say that is so you keep a consistent level of quality with it. Because, so let's travel back, a little bit when Space Wolves dropped 5th edition 40k. And I was playing this awesome codex. And I had three squads of Grey Slayers. And the first squad, okay, right? I haven't painted Space Wolf since 3rd, so they're okay. Second squad, way better. Way better. Well, I start looking at the first squad. I'm like, oh man, this took so long. These guys kind of look like crap. And so I stripped that second squad, right, and repaint it. Oh, cool. Well, I paint a third squad. Well, it just blows the both out of the water. There's no point in continuing. This is just a vicious circle of, I'm going to paint and get better, and then look back, and I'm like, oh man, this sucks. Like, now it's almost like, hey, here's my army. I've airbrushed everything at the same time in 2 big fat airbrush sessions, and now I'm going to do all the brushwork. And all the armor's consistent, all the fatigues look the same. That's kind of something that I've learned the hard way to do all at the same time, because I feel the batch painting is a way you will get more success in painting your units' armies faster, I'd say. And they'll be consistent all the way throughout.
Yeah, I've actually ran into those same problems too, like with my so my Ultramarines. One, I had a hell of a time deciding on the blues to use for that, and everybody knows
you're still having
I'm
time.
I'm still humming and hawing. But ultimately, I still love the way they turned out. But yeah, I actually ended up doing the infantry and ended up doing the vehicles separate, and I noticed that some of my vehicles just were not matching in the same kind of color. So I ended up having to kind of touch up everything I just did to kind of blend everything to make sure it's all together, right?
Yeah.
And then once I had them complete, I ended up helping a dear friend of ours with his Ultramarine miniatures, and made sure, got them all fixed up. He really, really loved my colors. So I told him, hey, you know what? I'm going to spray you the base colors, right? Yeah. And yeah, I did 100 Marines all in one sitting. Do the base color, do the next layer, do the zenithal highlight, right? Boom, those are all good, right? Prior to that, I had tested on one of his dreadnoughts, and this was before I did the infantry. So once I started doing the infantry and started working on the tanks, well, the dreadnought didn't really fit in the same way, right? Something changed. Something, the my little concoction of my mix changed slightly, right? And keynote, boys and girls out there, if you are mixing paints and you have a recipe for your color scheme,
oh yeah,
write it down.
Write it down. That's right.
Always write down. Always. I've done it too many times where I just heat of the moment doing my thing and crap, what did I just do, right? So, but anyways, back to the story. So I got ended up kind of redoing the dreadnought, and then had everything at that one state, and it was all the colors, the primary colors were ready to go, everything was done up. And it was just a good feeling to have it all unified, and was able to give it to my friend, our friend actually, to so that he can start painting, right, to make it easier for him.
That's
So
right.
so yeah, it was good, and learned some good stuff to do, good habits. But yeah, ultimately, like Bill was saying, like, who are you painting for? You know,
Yeah.
you might not learn that right away, but in time.
Yeah, I think everybody starts at different places, obviously, when they're painting and why they're painting, and I think everybody starts to kind of come down this road of, is the paint job I am trying to do, is it, and this is what I do for myself as well, is it easily achievable,
Mm-hmm.
and can I replicate it easily on a wide scale? If I'm sitting there at the airbrush like a little chemist and I'm dropping in all these different things, eventually something's gonna go astray, and you're gonna have this weird shade difference or something, right? Like my executioners, I have these mad scribblings, on paper of how I did it, and it took a long time to refine where it's, okay, this is much easier. The way I'm doing it is very straightforward, and I can replicate it. I can get a lot done batch painting wise, and not to say that complicated paint jobs don't have a place. They do for sure, but it's just write it down so you always know.
Yeah.
But that's just the trick I use for myself, right? Just to keep the painting momentum going, because yeah, you can hit a burnout wall really quick, and that's not the way, right? Like if you feel it coming, and you will, right? You've been painting steady for 2-3 months. Trust me, bro. That wall's coming, and do whatever you can to jump over it, right, or move around it however you can. Because I know even myself, right, kind of got derailed after about solid 2 months, and here we go. Yeah, it was like a month of not really doing a lot, but building and kind of poking at stuff, organizing totes and whatnot, and now I'm starting to get back on the paint train, and I want to keep momentum going all year.
Yeah. And what's the nice thing too is about the paintings, and how we just talked here about getting to a point where you're consistently happy with what you're doing, is with every new project, with every new army, you can always try to improve a little bit.
Yep.
Right. And for me, I found that's kind of the best way, right? I go with a project and have this mindset of, this is how I'm going to do it, and do some research on how to do certain techniques and this and that, and try it out. And then my next project, I have an idea of how I want to do that, and I want to try this new technique and go from there. And then next thing you know it, you're like, wow, I've accomplished that. Cool. I know how to do that now. Right. Like that simple trick, Bill, with the marbling that I did on the broken Aquila
yeah.
piece. Right. And it was just a quick video I seen, and it was like, huh, I never thought cling wrap could do that.
Yeah.
And there you have it. Looks awesome. Looks like pretty fancy marble. But you start learning and you start applying this to your own stuff, right? Now that marble effect, hey, I can take it and put it on one of the armor reeves of something from Titanicus.
Oh yeah.
Right? Do I want to make it with a green tone? I can do that, So yeah, keep painting.
Definitely.
And you ever burn out, just switch it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Switch it up.
Exactly. Nice thing too, and again, just to reinforce kind of what Andy was saying, is try to make each new project something out of your comfort zone. Because I think you will grow as a hobbyist. When we were doing our, tail end of 8th edition, we kind of had like a Tale of Four Warlords thing going on, and we played armies and had them painted in X number of months. I know
Yep.
Andy, he went completely out of his comfort zone and went from, guard and marines to these Zinich demons and all multicolored
Mhm.
spectrum flesh everywhere, and they turned out amazingly well. And even myself, I decided to try and give it a go at painting black power armor by hand, no airbrush, all by hand. And
Yeah.
I've seen enough horror stories out there about guys who just give up, or videos of guys washing the whole army with like Prussian blue oil washes and building it up. And I was like, I really want it to be simple, something I can replicate really easy, and no stress. Like, it was a very fun project to play my Black Legion and get them going. So I was experimenting a little bit, but definitely out of my comfort zone. Like, hand painting black armor is kind of crazy, right? It's like hand painting yellow. You're like,
Yeah,
you just don't do it, right?
I still haven't really tackled the black armor,
Yeah.
but Sisters of Battle will be that project.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, comfort zone, like Lord of Change,
Yeah.
all those feathers, all those different colors and hues and washes, like probably one of the funnest armies I've painted.
Yeah.
Right? Pinks and purples and blues and golds, and just wow. There was a lot. Like, I mean, there was a lot of pink horrors, and I had blue horrors and brimstone.
Oh, yeah.
But funnest model, though, I have to say, is the Lord of Change, Fate Weaver, actually.
Yeah.
And we'll have to post some pictures of him too.
Definitely.
But yeah, I was super glad I did that. So
Definitely. But yeah, hopefully this episode is kind of just giving you something to think about in terms of your backlog for building and painting and different things you're able to try within your own local community, or like we mentioned, partake with us online, right? If you hashtag Trident Wargaming on your post, we'll see it. We'll search the hashtag up and talk about the different different games. Doesn't matter what game it is, what system, post it up there. We want to see it all, right? Because it's all about different games, different systems. It's about the community of tabletop wargaming, right? It really is. So,
and who knows? Maybe we'll have to do one of those challenges for you guys.
Oh yeah,
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll have to set something up and get you guys participating and sending pictures and all that stuff of your projects that you're working on.
Maybe a future giveaway, some swag.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that sounds good to me. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, definitely, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And again, if you like what we're doing, guys, like, share, subscribe, give us a follow. If there's other things that you want to hear about, we want to see, definitely let us know. I know there's a couple little posts that we're going to be posting shortly in the next little bit about, a little painting video, a quick, easy, like, hobby hack to repair broken antennas on your models. I got kind of a cool little thing for that. And, just more tips as they come. So
definitely remember, build it, paint it, and play it. And we'll catch you guys next time.
thanks for watching.